Imagine a simple moment. Just a phone ringing in military headquarters. But who would have thought the voice behind the call made one of the most shining celebrities in South Korea, Cha Eun-woo, look completely panicked to the point of making his colleagues speechless. What exactly happened? Why would a phone call make Cha Eun-woo, who is known to be calm, authoritative and full of charisma, seem shaken? Today we're going to unpack the surprising stories behind those rare moments. And, believe me, when the heart of this story opens at the 4th minute, you will all be completely surprised at what really happened. Cha Eun-woo, who is currently serving in the army, is known as a quick adapter. The other soldiers often said that although he was a superstar, in the barracks he was just like everyone else. Not prestigious, not arrogant, and always humble. His military routine was normal. From early risers, hard physical training to night pickets, everything he went through without much complaint. In fact, several times he actually gave motivation to his colleagues who began to feel tired. However, a seemingly trivial incident turned out to be a turning point. Just then, in between breaks after training, a phone rang. Usually, there is nothing unusual about an internal phone call, but this time it turned into something unusual. His fellow soldiers saw for themselves. When Cha Eun-woo received the call, his originally relaxed expression suddenly turned tense. His hand grasping the receiver looked a little shaky, and his eyes stared blankly as if hearing something really shocking. Several other soldiers even wondered at each other with gazes. Asterisk. What's wrong with Eun-woo? Who's calling? Asterisk whispered one of them. However, Cha Eun-woo doesn't answer. He just stood stiff, his face pale and seen swallowing saliva many times. And it is precisely here, viewers, that we come to the most awaited moment. The heart of this story will be revealed, the contents of that phone. It's not a normal phone. Not from family, not from friends, especially from agency managers. The voice on the other side sounded rushed, full of anxiety, and seemed to bring news that Cha Eun-woo had not expected at all. The caller said that there was something urgent and directly related to his personal life. Something that, if leaked to the public, could shake the big name he had built up over the years. No one knows exactly what was said. But his barracks mates only saw how Cha Eun-woo tried so hard to cover up his surprise, even lowering his head and closing his eyes for a moment as if trying to calm himself down. Instantly, the atmosphere of the barracks became tense. Everyone felt like something big was happening. After a few long minutes, the call was finally over. But instead of being relieved, Cha Eun-woo's face looked even more gloomy. He put the phone down quietly, as if he didn't want to attract attention. But precisely because of his cautious attitude, everyone in the room was even more curious. Eun-woo, Gwenchana? You okay? Asked one of his military colleagues carefully. Cha Eun-woo didn't answer right away. He only nodded briefly, then walked to the corner of the room. There, he lowered his head, covered his face with both hands, and took a deep breath. Colleagues who saw him could only exchange glances. No one dared to ask further, but the mood had clearly changed. Usually, after hard training, Cha Eun-woo is the one who often breaks the mood with a smile or a little joke. But this time, an eerie silence replaced laughter. News of Cha Eun-woo's panic after picking up the phone immediately spread among fellow soldiers. In the barracks, small gossip swirls very quickly. Some suspect the call came from his family. Maybe his mother is sick, said a soldier. Another whispered. Or is there a problem at the agency? The contract could be in trouble. However, there is also a more extreme opinion. It could be a personal matter. Something that no one else can know. Speculation is getting wilder, especially since Eun-woo remained silent. He only answered briefly every time he was asked, as if trying to hold back something that was inappropriate to be expressed in that situation. Cha Eun-woo is known as a person who is always calm in front of the camera. His face almost never showed panic, even in difficult conditions. But in the military, away from the glare of the cameras, the panic was really noticeable. One soldier who happened to be close to her said, "I've never seen Eun-woo like that. He always smiled even when he was in trouble. But back then it was like he was missing something very important." Some even saw his eyes slightly glazed, although he quickly hid them. It made everyone sure that the phone was carrying very serious news. News of Cha Eun-woo's panic doesn't just stop at the barracks. Somehow, the news slowly leaked out and began to be discussed in cyberspace. Fans who heard this rumor immediately excited. In various online forums, wild speculations have sprung up. Some say that the call came from a close friend who had a disaster. Some suspect it's sudden news from the entertainment world, maybe about his group ASTRO or a big project he's involved in. Even some extreme fans speculate that the phone is related to a romance story that has been kept secret. Comments on social media are growing. Do you think Eunice is scared? Wow, this is serious. Why pale? Maybe his family. Hopefully not bad news about other ASTRO members. That night, after the mysterious telephone incident, the barracks became much quieter than usual. Some of the soldiers tried to break the atmosphere by talking, but still a mysterious air enveloped the room. Cha Eun-woo looks like he can't sleep. He lay on his bed, looked up at the ceiling, then turned around several times. His roommate tried to calm him down. "If you want a story, I'm ready to listen," his friend said quietly. However, Eun-woo just smiled slightly and said, "I'm fine. Don't worry." That sounds polite, but it's definitely not an honest answer. His eyes still showed deep anxiety. Until a few days after the incident, no one knew for sure who called and what was the content of the conversation. Obviously, since then, Cha Eun-woo's attitude has changed a bit. He is still disciplined, still doing his job well, but his colleagues realize there is a heavy burden on his shoulders. Sometimes he looks pensive longer than usual. Sometimes he takes a deep breath before answering someone else's question. Everyone can feel the phone is not trivial. There was something very important behind the call. When these rumors reached the entertainment media, journalists began to write speculations. Articles popping up with question mark-filled titles asterisk. Why does Cha Eun-woo look panicked after receiving a call in the military? Asterisk. A mysterious call disturbs Cha Eun-woo's peace? Is there a big problem waiting for Cha Eun-woo after his enlistment? Fans are getting restless. They flooded social media with prayers and support. Many wrote, "No matter what happens, we always support you, Eun-woo." Meanwhile, the ASTRO agency chose to remain silent. There is no official clarification. Instead, the silence of the agency further thickens the mystery. A few days later, in a brief moment of rest, one of his close soldiers finally ventured to ask again. "Eun-woo, do you really not want to talk? At least you can share a little so we can calm you down." Cha Eun-woo looked at her with a slight smile. "Thank you, but I have to bear this myself. There are things I can't say right now." The answer made his colleagues even more confused. But from the way he spoke, everyone knew that no matter what happened, it was really serious and not something that could be talked about carelessly. There is one theory that most fans and those closest to them believe, that the phone contains a sudden news about someone who means a lot to Eun-woo. That his family. Is that his best friend? Or maybe someone even more special? Until now, there is no definite answer. But one thing is clear. A brief moment of a phone call has left a deep imprint on Cha Eun-woo's life in the military. Viewers, such is a simple but mysterious story. Just a phone ring, but enough to make Cha Eun-woo look panicked in front of his colleagues. Who exactly is the caller? What did they say? And why is Cha Eun-woo's reaction so strong? To this day, the mystery still hangs without a definite answer. One thing we can be sure of is, no matter what happens, the fans are always ready to support him. And perhaps someday, the truth of the mysterious phone will be revealed.